In first grade, when I was just shy of 6 years old, my teacher found a book that somebody had written my name in repeatedly. It was clearly the writing of a child, my name written half a dozen times, from top to bottom on the inside back cover. My teacher absolutely lost it, and, red in the face, accused me of doing it. But I didn't. The more she accused me, the more I denied it. The more I denied it, the angrier she became. Soon she was screaming in my face, swearing at me, demanding that I confess, but I refused. We were sitting at the kind of desk where the wooden top opens to reveal a storage area underneath for notebooks, pencils, crayons, and so forth. She told me to get my things out of my desk, as I was being sent to the principal's office. When I reached inside, she slammed my hands with the desktop. I screamed and started crying, and my teacher asked if I was ready to confess. I refused, so she told me to get my things again. I didn't want to get my hands crushed again, so I refused. She demanded that I get my things, and I continued to refuse. She became so angry that she started grabbing my arm, lifting the desktop, sticking my hand inside, and slamming the top shut again. She repeated this about a dozen times, asking between each slam if I was ready to confess. I never did, and she eventually stopped when a number of other kids started crying. I told my parents what happened when I got home from school, and the next day I had to tell the story of what happened to a number of people, reliving it each time. I never saw that teacher again. It really wasn't me who wrote in the book. One weekend in college, I crashed at a friend's house and woke up early in the morning, about 7 a.m. or so. I decided to walk 5 minutes back to my dorm to get some more sleep in my own bed. As I got close to my dorm, I noticed a man following me. Nobody else was out walking. He didn't look college-aged either. I started fast walking to the front door. It was after the night security guard, who was another paid student, had left, so there was nobody at the door. I still had to swipe my ID card to get in, and the man was very close behind me. I swiped my card, and he snuck in before the door had fully closed and relocked. I bolted up the one flight of stairs to my floor and down an 80-foot hallway to my dorm room. As I fumbled with my keys, I saw the man enter the walkway, looking left and right down the dark hall to see where I had went. I slipped in my room and locked the door. I didn't fall back asleep that morning. I was pumping gas late one night. The way to the gas station was set up so that there were pumps on either side of a convenience store. This woman came out of the store and was finishing her conversation with the attendant about how to pump gas and use her rewards card. So obviously, she was new to this whole put gas in your car yourself kind of deal. Just as I'm done filling up, I notice this other car pull up between her Jeep and the store. The driver gets out, opens the woman's passenger door, and takes her purse. He then looks up, sees that I've been watching him, and puts his index finger to his mouth in a shushing motion before getting in his car and speeding off. At this point, I'm freaking out. I only got the first 3 letters on his license plate. By now, I was done filling up, so I put the pump back and think about how I'm going to tell this woman that her purse was just stolen from out of her car. At the time, I couldn't believe that this was really happening, so I just got in my car, pulled around, and told her that I just saw her purse get stolen, and the first 3 letters on the plate, and that maybe the attendants could use the security cameras to get the rest. I then drove back to my house. When I was 5 years old, my 4-year-old sister and I woke up on stretchers in the hospital. All I could remember at first were the incredibly bright lights and the sterile white walls. A pretty nurse with curly blonde hair and bright red lipstick was taking care of me, and looked extremely worried. I think I might have been strapped down to the stretcher, but I don't remember. I have no idea why I didn't put up a fight, because I do remember that there was a tube down my throat. For some reason, I couldn't understand why the nurse was so worried. I just wanted her to laugh. So every time she would give me the next shot in my arm, I would try to gasp, look at her, then roll my eyes and pretend to pass out. I'd open my eyes and let out a muffled laugh, and she would smile. To this day, I still can't stand the thought of gagging or throwing up. A few times, my dad would randomly burst into my hospital room, and each time, he looked terrified. I didn't understand why he kept leaving and coming back until much later, when I was told that the hospital had my sister and I in opposite rooms. Apparently, my heart stopped 9 times. It wasn't long until my sister and I found out that our mother had tried to overdose us on her pills. It was another 2 decades before I learned that she didn't have a psychotic break like I thought. She was just angry at my dad for drinking and wanted to get back at him. When I was younger, I used to live by the woods and could see a cemetery from my back porch. One Easter, I remember waking up and seeing the Easter Bunny, one of those terrifying costumes. And what really gets me is I remember smelling the wet hay. When I woke up, I didn't tell anyone, but there was an extra Easter egg in my house that my parents didn't hide. Years later, when I was in high school, I asked my parents if they ever dressed up like the Easter Bunny and came into our bedroom, and they said they would never have gone through so much trouble. Then, my younger sister, who I had shared a bunk bed with when this happened, said that she remembered when the Easter Bunny came into our room the year after that and made a remark about the hay smell. I was terrified that we both remembered seeing a person dressed as a bunny in our room 1 year apart. To make it even stranger, I told the friends that I sat with at lunch what had happened. One of the girls was my neighbor across the street. She told me one Easter, a long time ago, she looked out her window during the night and saw the Easter Bunny standing in her driveway. I got chills. To this day, I am terrified of people in rabbit costumes.